Okay, now we're live. My Wi-Fi is so wonky. It's like taking
Hmm.
forever to load.
Yep, there it goes. Yeah.
I guess. Hey, Dusty. I have to like literally look through the chat to see who's in here. Because if I scroll up on my computer, I'll probably lose it. Hey, Tara, Dicky. Oh, it restarts every time on my thing here. Hold on a second. Why is my volume not going down on my headphones? That's so weird. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe I just need to reset my earbuds. But okay, so I said hi to Dickie at Cat Eyes. I already said hi to her. Okay. So we brought Kel back on this week, guys, so she could tell her full story because we kind of got a little derailed last week. We kept bringing the conversation all over the place. So
Good
we
time though.
wanted her to have to actually, tell her story. Hi, Sandra. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm kind of new to all this stuff.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna
Weird.
say, I'm like, I hope she doesn't have any problems when she clicks the link.
It's like, hello.
Hey, Harvey. Thanks for coming, honey.
What's up, Harvey?
We were just talking about your channel the other day. So I'll
He's
have
one
to
that
get.
when I send this to people from the NEPA area, I always
Yeah.
tell them to make sure that they watch the episode with Harvey. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
want like real life and real consequences and emotions and everything, you have to watch his story.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and it was so, like, it was powerful, but it was so, like, raw and real. And he was just so honest. I get so many messages about it all the time. People are like, the fact that he admitted that he wasn't like, oh, after I shot him, I was fine with it. I mean, he actually broke down and was like, what did I do? Um, so it's majorly huge, I think, for people to hear that. Hey, Dominique. Hey, Matt. Just wrapping up. Thank you, Matt. Um, so, Kel, if you want to go first, you can tell your story.
Um, okay, so I did find out that I had like memories that I put to the back of my head and I made sure that I wouldn't remember. So I originally thought all of this started at 13, but over counseling, I found out that it started when I was age 6 by my sister's husband. And he was talking about how sexy and attractive I was at 6 years old. And at that point, he was 13 years older than me, so 19. Like, that's disgusting. And
Right.
then, like, over the years, like, I was a gymnast, and I mean, I always had a body that was in shape, and I made sure of it. I kind of had no choice but to be. And he got more physical when it came to like me practicing my routines outside and stuff, which at first I didn't care, but then he got weird where when they would come home from college, because I originally lived in Philly and my sister moved up here for Wilkes University, they
Mm-hmm.
would come down and it wouldn't be, oh, we're gonna sleep in like my older sister's old bedroom. It was, we're gonna sleep in Kel's room, and my younger sister would sleep on the top bunk. I'd be on the bottom bunk. Well, I would sit there and demand that like my older sister slept with me, but then her husband would sit there and argue, no, 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 I'll lay on the bottom. Like, you don't get as much time with your youngest sister. And I didn't think of any of this until the older I got. Well, 13 finally hit, and that's when he started grooming me. And well, actually, I guess he was doing it prior to that, but um he got in my head psychologically. That's one thing he could do. And he literally, because I moved in with my older sister and him, because me and my mom were not getting along. I mean, it got to the point where me and my mom got physical. And nobody realized the mental abuse that was going on from him at the time because he was very sneaky with it. And I moved in with them. That's when the physical abuse started. Like, if I had a black eye from him and I put my makeup on and my makeup didn't fully cover it, he would come up with an excuse on why I had to stay home from school that day so my older sister wouldn't freak. Like, oh, I saw her puking this morning or whatever. So he would physically make me stay home from school and miss classes to hide the fact that I had a black eye from him. He had broken my nose, he broke my wrist, he broke my ankle. In this arm, I have a permanent indent completely through the bone because he slammed my arm between a door and door frame. And then it became sexual on my 15th birthday. So he told me I was his birthday gift since his birthday was 2 weeks before. My older sister didn't have sex with him. And he chose my birthday to do this because we were at the house alone. My older sister went to pick up food to celebrate my birthday, and that's when he acted. And I didn't know what to do. I was already depressed and everything, and my actions just got worse. My mouth got worse. Like, I started getting in fist fights in school, and my parents knew, like, I'm never somebody to throw the first punch. Like, I'll sit there and I'll get you to flip out on me and deck me before I ever touch you. And
Yeah.
I was sitting there getting physical first, and my dad and mom were like, that's just not you. Like, so then they were trying to figure it out. My older sister's like, oh, we're going to put her in therapy. And I agreed to it. I was like, whatever, I'll try it. And I didn't discuss any of what was going on with my sister's husband with my therapist because every time I had a session and I would go back home, he would sit there and he would question what I told them, what her questions were, what she was saying diagnosis wise, whole 9 yards. And my mom caught him the one day cornering me in the kitchen to ask me. And then she asked me, why does he care what you're talking about in therapy? And I was like, I don't know. I said, he tries to be active in my life. I said, you and Bethany sat there and screamed at me and him, telling us we had to get along. I said, now we're getting along, and you're sitting here asking why he cares. And I had to downplay it so much because he was a mechanical engineer, had like his degree and everything, and he drew up actual blueprints on the computer of like saw contraptions and told me, this is how I'm going to kill your mom. This is how I'm going to kill your dad. Like, if you tell your sister, this is how I'm going to kill your sister, then told me how he was going to kill me. And then on their wedding anniversary, May 21st, is when he raped me. And I finally mentally snapped like 2 weeks later. And my dad picked me up from the house. I threw all my stuff out the second story window. Packed, not packed, I didn't give a shit, and waited outside for my dad to get there. He got there. Next day, he drove me down to Philly, dropped me off, and I stayed down there for a month. In that month's time, he was blowing my phone up every single day, numerous times a day. And then if I did answer the phone, he would sit there and it would be, well, what have you and your friend been talking about? Well, he was on speaker a lot of the time. I didn't realize it. Some of my friends started digging and egging at me, and we've been friends since I was 4 years old. And at that point, that's 11-year friendship. And
Right.
I couldn't even tell her. It took me coming back up here and him finding out I was at my best friend's house. Don't know how he found this out. Got her house number, called the house, and threatened me over the phone. And then my older sister asked me, is there anything that I need to know because of me going for child custody? And I'm like, he sat there and he's like full on suffocated his youngest daughter because she wouldn't stop crying. So hell yeah, I want the kids away from him. So I told her everything. Well, you think like my older sister being like my best friend, my go-to, like my entire life, somebody I looked up to and was inspired by, would sit there and have my back on it? No, she came downstairs, she told my mom. My mom started puking. My dad heard my mom upset. And all of this time, I was at my friend's house, and she's like, I'm coming to get you. We're going to the state police station tonight. I'm like, the fuck we are. Like, I had plans to go and hang out with the guy I was seeing at that time. And we
Right.
ended up being together for 10 years after that. So, I mean, but she actually had the audacity to let her best friend sit there and ask me, are you sure you didn't want it? I'm like, are you you're saying this to a 15-year-old? Like, I'm already
Right.
mentally fucked as is. Like, he rewired my brain completely to where even in, I've noticed I now have a habit of picking toxic relationships where other people are like, why do you put up with that? And I'm like, oh, it's not that bad. Like, I've had worse. So I tolerate the bad behavior because I've had worse. But everyone keeps telling me that I need to sit there and not put up with the shit that I do. And it's not, oh, I've had worse. It's, I don't deserve this, period. Like, I'm better than
Right.
this. And
Yep.
then he was founded, like it was founded by children and youth. He was never arrested, no charges put on him. The district attorney and assistant district attorney actually got everything basically thrown out. He then stalked me from the age of 15 up until last year, so 28. 13 years he was stalking me, and he every year on the rape anniversary leaves a handwritten letter on my parents' front porch for
What
me
the
to
hell?
find. Yep, and the cops don't do anything about it. We've called them, nothing they do. Like, we've had video evidence of him being on the property, and they're just like, well, he's not here. We can't do anything. We don't know where he is. I'm like, well, his parents' house is in Bucks County. I'm like, his girlfriend is living in Colorado or whatever it was. Like, and his girlfriend had a kid who was like my age, and of course it was a little girl. And I'm like, so I finally snapped when I was drunk one night, and I unblocked him on Facebook, and I
Yep.
messaged him. I called him out on absolutely everything, and I told him if for any reason or way I found out that he touched his girlfriend's little girl, that I would personally kill him, because he did that to me, and then he molested his own daughter at 2, almost 3 years old, and
Right.
like, I don't understand how he wasn't arrested. And then
Yep.
2018, I was raped by my guy best friend. I was actually roofied and raped. I don't remember any of it. I last remember being at his house chilling, and then I woke up the next morning in my bed, had no idea how I got here. And I guess he drove my car home and had his friend follow, and then he actually like helped carry me upstairs and put me in bed with my fiance and tell my fiance I got her home safe. Her car's outside. I'm gonna leave the keys downstairs. Like, are you effing like?
Wow.
He was never arrested. I reported that, and state police, county, what was it? The township police, everything to where it happened, and nothing came out of it. So, I mean, I felt hopeless for all of these years, to be honest with you. It's been more than half my life I've been dealing with this, because I'm 29 going on 30, and this all started when I was 6. So 3/4
Yeah.
of my life I have been dealing with this stuff, and I didn't know what healthy felt like. I forgot what it was supposed to feel like. And now that I'm in therapy, I'm doing regular therapy, group therapy. I go to grief counseling because March 1st, my fiance actually committed suicide. So this year will be the year anniversary of that I have coming up. So I have so much that was piling on my chest, and I was trying
Yeah.
to numb it. I numbed it any way I could, drinking, Xanax, whatever I could take to get over it. Like,
Yeah.
just to not feel emotion for even in an hour, I
Right.
would have been happy. I just needed to escape my own life.
Yep.
And that, I mean, so there's all of
It's a
that.
lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot. But good for you for, standing up for yourself and like keeping going forward. You know what I mean? Just not giving it's huge. I'm sorry the adults and shit. That's ridiculous.
Mhm.
And they won't do nothing. They just
Nope, they wouldn't
that's
even renew
crazy.
my PFA because the judge said that my life wasn't being threatened by him, so he wasn't going to renew the PFA. I'm like, he's stalking me. Like, I have evidence of him on my parents' property at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, what do
Right.
you mean? Oh God! But I found out that judge, I guess, it's a common thing for him to just sit there and write off the PFAs, not
Really?
actually give them. Yep, the PFA judge is now the
That's like
custody court judge.
oh God.
Yep.
We were just talking about that earlier too. A lot of the judges and the DAs, I mean, there's so many people that will go up and, lie to get a protection order and they get it given to them so freaking easy.
Yeah.
And those of us who genuinely need it and are, clawing our way into the courtroom to get it, it's a problem. It's always a hassle.
Yep.
It sucks. It's disgusting, you know?
Yeah. They don't help
Yeah.
the people who need help. Like,
No, they don't.
Yeah, it's always the opposite. I mean,
mhm.
which is like, how do these people who have not been through it supposedly have sufficient evidence and, their word is their bond and they can get a, protective
Yeah.
order. But those of us who have been through it, it's always the opposite. Like, you don't have enough evidence. You didn't speak to me appropriately or, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It bothers me
Mhm.
so much. We have a lot of that around here too in Mass. It's insane. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
fight to get in order.
Oh yeah. Well,
Um,
Stephanie Salavantis, when she was running to become the district attorney, my mom actually called her and spoke with her on the phone, and then Stephanie got on the phone with me, and she was like, your mom explained your entire story, what you've been through, what like how Carol Musto didn't do this, do that. So she's like, once I get in office, like I'll sit there, I'll help you. She's like, tell me all this, and I don't remember what year it was she was made the DA, but I have not heard from her, and I've called numerous times.
right.
So that just pissed
Wow.
me off.
Elected, basically.
hmm
Yeah, that's nuts.
I can say good things about the DA here now, though.
Yeah.
She's taking cases for both Musa and I. So, I mean, that's a big
Oh,
step
good.
in the right direction.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. I mean, I feel like, especially when it comes to stuff like that in the system, it's, it's baby steps. It takes time to get there. But as long as they're at least taking those steps and not, putting a big roadblock, like, no, we're not trying to work with you guys. We don't want to, like a lot of the times they flat out say they're afraid to do it because it
Yeah.
won't make it through court or,
That's why I'm
it's a
so
waste of our
happy.
time.
The Kingston Police Department here is absolutely amazing.
Yep.
They have what it takes to make it happen, and they have. So far,
Yeah.
we have a bunch of convictions between Musa and I. I'm not sure the exact amount yet. Some of them are still pending. They've taken plea deals and stuff like that. I can't really go into that stuff, but
Right.
they're setting the bar for the rest of Pennsylvania. And I noticed every time Musa goes somewhere and has an interaction with police, he tells them, get a hold of Luzerne County, specifically Kingston Police Department, find out how they're doing this in Pennsylvania, because one law here is the same as the law there. It's all
Yep.
Pennsylvania. So if we can do it here, there's no reason why they can't. Just step up and do it.
Yeah, because I remember him saying that one of the times, I think fairly recently, but he had told them like they take the evidence, in this place, so why not? It's the same evidence. You expect the same shit. Why not just take the case?
That was recently. I think it was 3 weekends ago or so.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that police officer, it was the same one he dealt with twice in one night, and he told him the same thing twice.
Right.
So,
Wow. And it sucks too, because it's like you have those hard-headed ones that don't want to do anything. It's like part laziness on certain cops. Let me see. Somebody said there's a little bit of background noise. Let me figure this out. Let me see. Oh, I don't think I hear it anymore. Okay.
I hear a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I hear it a little bit, but I know it sounds different for them on the screen. Let's see. I'm not sure who it's coming from, but I don't fully know how to do noise cancellation and any of that shit. So, but hopefully it's not too bad for you guys in chat. Because I ain't that good that I know how to, put on noise cancellation on the laptop. I'm not that good at that yet, but well, thank you, Kel. I appreciate you a lot
Thank
for
you.
coming back
Thank
up and sharing. And Emily just texted and said she just woke up. She's like, shit, I just woke up. She's like, my alarm didn't go off. I said, you're fine. I said, we still got another story, so just click the link when you're ready. So funny. All right, Miss Sandra, you can go.
All right. Okay, it's still fresh. Because I think I talked to you and Brock not long ago about it.
Yep.
Oh dear God. Okay, so the guy I was with, we were scheduled to get married, whatever, blah blah blah. He hid behind like this huge mask, like when people tell you who they are, like, oh, I'm never going to do this. I'm not going to be like the rest of your past relationships, blah, blah, blah. And then, boom, they are 10 times more.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is kind of fresh, so I might just lose it. So he was abusive, which I have on my phone, like video and stuff, because, I was afraid of my life, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So this guy, he claimed like he was like 8-year veteran cop. Comes to find out he was never a cop. And my daughter's dad and I think that that's how he groomed our 5-year-old daughter. Okay. I had kicked him out before any of this came to light, and then she ended up telling me, I think it was like December 9th, she told me that he touched her no square, called the police immediately, trying to get a hold of her father, couldn't get a hold of her father. Like, it was just a mess, like, that night, just trying to call people to kind of calm my brain at the same time, because I wanted to kill him.
Right.
Talked to the police. She didn't want to. Before I talked to the police officer, like, I told her that, I needed to talk to the police, and she might have to talk to them, and she didn't want to. And with that, she's into Paw Patrol and she loves Chase. So she loved cops before this asshole came into the picture. But
Yeah.
so she only wanted to talk to like the female cop here. She was just, I don't know, she just doesn't like no cops now. But oh Jesus, I'm sorry if I'm all over the board. So talked to the officer, CYS was involved. That Monday, I ended up filing a PFA on him. And of course, I put everything that my daughter had told me about what happened. And then I also added just the violence like in the relationship, which I have like the videos and whatnot to prove that. As far as I know now, it took me 2 months to get the PFA finalized because he kept continuing it. Apparently he's still getting investigated. And with that, I haven't seen my daughter since then. Hold tight.
You're doing great.
I haven't seen. It sucks. I haven't seen him since then. And I think the reason for what I'm being told is because it happened here. Now I was at work at the time when it happened. 10-hour days and then travel time. So I wasn't home like half the day. And this didn't only just happen one time either. But I think it's because it happened here. Like that's why she can't come here. But I ended up getting that PFA for 3 freaking years. Telling the judge that, because I feared for my life. I think I told you and Brock this too. It got the PFA to stick, and plus, with custody with my daughter, like I needed that to stick so she can come back here.
Right.
Yeah, it's horrible, but I guess the light of it, of it all, is that like he went into that courtroom now this was just last week. He went in that courtroom just all cocky and shit, right? And now when I went to the interview with my daughter and she got examined, that's very uncomfortable. I cannot. So when we were trying to figure out how long the PFA would last or whatever, I told the judge right away that I wanted it for the rest of his life because I don't want to see him.
Right.
And there's even reasons behind that because I just don't want to see him. If I see him walking on the road, I'll run him over with my car. I don't care. So it ended up being 3 years. And I don't know, like, hold on. It's tough. It's fucking tough. Now I did the short version because like I will just start crying, and I just took my my medication just to calm my nerves too. So
Yeah.
it's still fresh, but it still sucks. But I know like when I started like revealing a lot about him because I didn't have an attorney with me, and I had like some kind of advice on how to proceed with the videos and like things that I have about him and of him. I started exposing him to the courts, and he got like nervous, and my little brain started like deactivating a little bit, like, you know, I'm making this motherfucker like uncomfortable right now. But
Right.
I said to myself, like, you know, he doesn't realize how uncomfortable it was to be with my daughter when she was getting examined. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
Oh God.
That's the reality of it that a lot of people don't
Yeah.
think about.
Yep.
Yeah. And she's 5. She started kindergarten.
And like nobody should ever have to go through that.
No. Not at all.
No, Sandra, I completely understand what you're going through because when my son was 5, he came out with his dad touching him. And my son also came home with his anus ripped. And when we took him to a doctor that worked with children and youth, it was me and my dad who had to physically hold my son down as they examined him with him screaming no and begging, like, Mommy, please let go, let me up, I don't want to. Bawling as they're like he's completely naked, and that
Mm-hmm.
just brought back stuff from when I had personally gone through it, and now my son's personally going through it. But tell me how children and youth granted custody of my son to his dad.
Yeah. Oh God. You know, I'm so fed up with children youth at this point.
Oh, they're useless.
They are. Even the cops here, like, and I don't know if I explained this to you and Brock the other day or whatever, but they fucking told me, they literally told me this. If they get one more report, one more out of 6, okay, 6 reports, they get one more, lucky number 7, then they'll go and reinvestigate him. But from what I understand from her dad, they're still investigating. So I don't know what's the truth on that, but
6 is
before they told me one more report, I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, because she not only told me, but she told her dad, the school, her freaking school, and 3 other people. You know, and it's like, one more freaking report. Why just one more? The school should
Right.
be enough.
One
You know what I
should
mean?
have been enough.
Oh, there shouldn't be one, let alone 6.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the one would have been more than enough.
And I already told him, you know, like, sorry, I'm smoking because I'm like,
You're fine, honey.
anxiety. I told him, I said, well, you know what? I said, people know around here, and some people don't even like that, like him. I said, it's not gonna be put on me or my responsibility if someone just decides to do something, because prior to all this, when I kicked him out, you know, I get Facebook happy sometimes. But a lot of people saw the patterns between him and I just with like the abuse alone, right? And then my daughter told me what she expressed. But even before then, now his ex-girlfriend from Texas started sending me, well, she was making sure I was okay, and I'm like, I'm fine, whatever, blah blah blah. Now this is before my daughter told me, like 2 weeks before my daughter told me.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm fine, I'm okay, whatever. And then we started conversating, and there was a lot of things that, like, even with their relationship, like I saw in that relationship, but like 10 times worse. She sent me like she was going to press charges on him back in Texas, with assault and threats and whatnot, and I have all that printed off. And then when my daughter told me what she had told me, that's when his ex-girlfriend had sent me screenshots of his search history from Texas of like underage girls, high school, jailbait, like disgusting. I showed that to the fucking cops, and they wouldn't do anything about it. And I said, well, if he has that same computer, why can't you just take it?
Right.
I said, if you want me to do it myself, I'll go up to his bedroom and do it because I'll do it. I don't care. And they're like, no, you can't act on it.
Right.
But it's just insane. And even like women in transitions, like the one, I think it was like the second continuance with the PFA. He ended up actually in the psych ward because I don't think he could handle all this, but I don't really care. And I was sitting there with transitions, and I even showed her like the screenshots and with that, and then also with a conversation with her and I, stating that her and another ex-girlfriend had found like child porn on his computer, right? So I have it all, like it's in my fucking folder.
Right.
And transitions literally told me this, and this is what burnt my ass up. The lady told me that anybody in America as an adult can go online and look. Like they can just type in blah blah blah, okay? And they don't have to look at a freaking video. What the fuck is their intent? You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yep.
that burnt my ass up. And so I asked her, I'm like, so what if we go with this scenario? Because I was trying to compare it just to make sure like it makes sense to me. Um and I asked her, I'm like, so what's the difference if I go and like YouTube search on how to change a spark plug in my car? I said, what's the intent? And she's like, well, you're gonna find a video. I'm like, wow, ring a ding ding, right? So I said, so in nameless, I'm gonna call him nameless. I said in his case, I said, so he's typing whatever, he's looking whatever, and then like the girlfriends he had before me, they all had boys, and then I was the one that had the girl, my daughter, right? And I told her, I said, so it's kind of like the same scenario to where, you take the whole spark plug, I guess analogy or whatever. I said, I'm going to look at a video and then I'm going to find prices. If I don't like the price, I'm going to keep going and going and going until I find the price till it satisfies me so I can fix my damn car, right? She's like, you have a point.
Right.
I'm like, it's not any fucking difference here.
Right.
It's not. It has to come to my daughter. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I'm very pissed
Yeah.
off with them right now. See, now I'm mad because I'm talking about it.
Yeah, but it's like that's the fighter in you, the mom in you. You know what I mean? I mean, in a way, it's important to keep that. You know what I mean? Because it's going to continue to give you the drive to not give up for her sake.
It is giving me.
So, and she is going to need that. She's going to need to know that someone was there fighting for her the whole time.
And and I was just talking. I mean, I've been kind of talking to a lot of people, especially people that know him who just think he's nuts, but he's kind of crazy. But that they see that and be like, I'm strong, this and that. But there's times, like Christmas Eve, oh boy, nobody like dial 911 because it's over with. Christmas Eve, like I just kind of shut myself down.
Right.
Looking online, like how I could overdose on my medication just to be done with it.
Yeah.
And then my boys called, my sons.
Yeah.
And I think from that point on, like for me to get that low and that down, and then like my boys just kind of, hey mom, we'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Like it gives me a little hope of myself too.
Right.
And then with that as well, like I started drinking like a damn fish. Because I just know it numbs the pain, and then I just discovered like, Snapchat filters and have fun with that. But with my best friend, and that's what kind of keeps me like going as well, just friends like her. And I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of keeping your mind occupied. Like being able to do that every day, it gives you something to look forward to each day. Like I did a lot of walking. A lot of walking. Every single time a thought would go through my mind at all, it was I dropped everything and walked. Whether I had to pack up the kids with me and walk, or, my older daughter would watch them, just to keep myself going. It's like, I mean, you have that time to yourself to think, but I feel like for me, having the fresh air, kind of also got me out of that mindset. But
Yeah.
I was also doing like scrapbooking, because I think putting like pictures of my kids in an album, um, just kind of kept me grounded. I was able to remind myself like why I'm here, why I'm still fighting.
Well, I do know, like, I don't really go out of my apartment. I mean, there's reasons, and
Yep.
I haven't really been out of my, unless I have to go get like food or like stuff for my apartment or my kids or whatever, then I'll go. But I try not to go to places where he may go to because, um, yeah, whatever. But yeah, I try not to go out of my apartment. Um, but like when I'm by myself, that's when I get like stuck in here. Like I had to get my medication increased, not induced, increased. Um, to where like I'm almost at the highest level for therapeutic level, I guess, like if that makes sense. Um,
Yep.
but I really don't go like I don't know, like I just can't get myself to go out anymore, like anywhere, like anywhere.
It's hard.
And then as I sit here, like if I wasn't doing this right now, I would sit here and literally think about like, okay, so what flags did I freaking miss? And then I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm like, okay, I got pulled over the one time back in I think it was like June or July, out by a AutoZone here, and I couldn't understand why my daughter freaked out over a cop.
Right.
I think about shit like that, and then I think about like, um, it's like constant, and
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. And like even when I had to pick her up, like her dad and I, we agreed on a custody agreement because like Bloomsburg School District is better than Shamokin, right? And I've
Yep.
only been here for 2 years, but we just wanted the best for her. And then I would get her on the weekends. I would go see her, whatever. We were working things out like co-parenting, like we should be doing. Um, but there was times where even during that time, up until this jackass would leave like every weekend, and like I already know what he was doing, and it's gross. It disgusts me. But I couldn't really figure out why she would. I don't want to say she would freak out, but she's like, "Mom, I don't want to go to your house. I don't want to go to your house." I'm like, well, we're going. You have to. But at the time,
Right.
I didn't think about like all of that, like all of what was going on because I didn't know. You know what I mean? And it sucks. It's like I get so far inside my head with this shit, and then I feel like guilty for not noticing, I guess.
Yep.
And like a lot of people are like, don't feel guilty. It's not your fault. It's like, well, I kind of feel like it is in a way. If I was here for her, it wouldn't happen. But I had to work. I had to be mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Support her and my boys.
Yep.
So it's in that crazy roller coaster of emotions. And then like I'm sure after I get off of here, I'm gonna be all pissed off and like swearing up a storm. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be like the hardest thing to like keep your mindset off of is like blaming yourself. But I mean, in reality, there's not anything different that you could have done. Um, these people are who they are. You know what I mean? They're gonna find ways to do what they do. Whether you're there or not. So
It
you
happens
just
even if you are there sometimes.
right, exactly. So I mean, you got to try to remind yourself that it's out of your control. You're not the one who did this to her. So I mean, there is unfortunately nothing you can do except for to keep fighting for her to have justice.
Right. And that's what I'm gonna continue to do.
And Sandra, after the stream, if you need anything at all, you're more than welcome to message us.
Mm-hmm.
It
Absolutely.
sounds like you're dealing with survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yep. mean, it's tough. It's like, I mean, and then you go through the whole thoughts of like, why not me? Why her? Or, like, why, it's just,
Right.
it's so messed up what it
It
does
is.
to you as
As
a
a
human
person in your mind,
being.
Yeah.
Um,
Like since then, like I have, I mean, she's in counseling now, and this is all screwed up too because maybe oh God, we're in February now. Jesus Christ. And that's what happens. Like my days are coming together. Like I forgot we were in February. So it was like I think after she got examined, and interviewed, and that's the other fucking thing too that burns my ass up. I'm sorry, because I had concerns about the whole interview process itself because okay, she's fine, all right. Like now I'm gonna get like mad, I'm gonna cry, and this is how my emotions go. It depends on what part of this is like gonna affect me, and this pisses me off. But and I'm sorry if I'm all over the board too, and I'm trying, really, really trying.
you're fine.
So, okay, if anybody knows about like children being interviewed, whatever, it's kind of like there's 2 rooms, right, back to back, and like in the middle, like I guess the wall, it's a 2-way mirror, so they can look at her, they can see her, they can listen to her, record her, whatever, and then she's on the other side, she can't look in.
Right.
So mistake number 1, I feel. Mistake number 2, like I believe like if she didn't see that room, she would have been fine. And also the officer that took care of the case, he introduced himself as a cop. That was mistake number 2. I addressed those concerns. Nothing fucking happened. I'm like, all right, let's play.
Yep.
But what was I gonna say?
I think it's easier when they come to a kid, it's easier to introduce themselves as like, a friend, somebody who wants to talk with them, instead of immediately putting themselves in such an authoritative position, because it's intimidating and they're fine.
Well, not only that though, like I mean, like I mentioned before, like she used to love cops. Like she would strike up like conversations with them. She would like make them stop outside here and wave and talk. She was just like she loved cops.
Right.
And then until this guy entered the picture, pretending to be a cop, which I have proof of that. Like he's fake. He's fake. And we think that's how he groomed her. And then he had me fooled too because I like a man in uniform. And it's just one of those things where, like, I look back at a lot of things. It's like, I don't know. I don't even know. Like, and then trusting people is kind of like right now, like, I'm looking at this chat over here. Like, I don't know if he's going to be here. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. Like, the whole trust thing, the whole, like, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty fucked up over it, to be honest.
It's torture. I mean, it literally tortures your soul, It sucks.
So I don't know.
Well, I appreciate you.
But the one thing that I am proud of is one thing is that my 2 sons, they are 11 and 13. My 13-year-old is much bigger than I am. But with those 2, like they're like mommy and their sister's protectors. Like they protect both of us, which they don't have to, but they do. And with all of this going on, like I am so glad that they have kept their cool and they haven't really shown their emotions about this because they know. And I feel like they should know, not like to the full extent, but kind of like know what's sort of going on. You know what I mean? Just so because they don't see her now, and so I try to keep up with them as much as possible, kind of PG-13 related, But with her though, I wish I could be just as strong as she is. Like, I've had relatives tell me that, oh, no 5-year-old's going to just come up and say that. I'm like, if you've seen her look, if you've seen the way her whole demeanor is and just everything about that night, I'm like, okay, just stop right there. And plus I have, like the proof of like his internet searches.
Right.
It's like just don't. And but like for her though, like when she first told me I was trying to get like someone to talk to, like to figure everything out, she was kind of like scared. But
Yeah.
the next day, that Saturday, I ended up calling my ex-husband's wife. Like her and I are really good friends, which is weird. But we all co-parent our boys, so everything's good there.
Yeah.
And anytime I would talk to either her or like Crisis, like I have been on the phone with Crisis a lot. If I can't reach my psychiatrist or therapist. But she, she would give me a hug. She's like, "Mommy, it's okay." I'm like, "It will be okay."
Right.
She would have tears in her eyes and she would say, "Mommy, I'm sorry." I'm like, "No, don't do that." So just to reassure her, that she's strong and she freaking just is brave for 5.
Yeah.
I love that about her. And I wish I could be like her.
Yeah. But you are in your own way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's easy for us to feel weak because we're, letting our emotions get to us, but it's way better than the alternative and stuffing it in there and acting, as if it's not bothering us. You know what I mean? And she's going to be able to see that it's okay to have those emotions. She's allowed to feel that and get through the process and not ignore it.
Right.
I think it's important that you continue to do, exactly what you're doing. I think it's major for her growth, in general.
Oh yeah. And she is so smart and like I'm just proud of her in every single way, every way.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna try to brag about her or anything, but like the most thing I'm so impressive with her, she knows like I believe she's going to be part of NASA or like she's going to be part of like Elon Musk because she like knows everything about this guy and like
That's
everything
cool.
about it. Planets, everything. She'll tell you like what planet is out. It's like I don't even know. I have to look it up on my phone.
I was gonna say I gotta look it up too.
But like she'll tell you like where the planets are and like and she's amazing like that. And it
Yep.
sucks that this asshole had to take part of her innocence away.
Right.
And it takes me all that I have because I live 5 minutes from him, just 5.
Yeah.
Driving, 20 minutes walking. And I already told the police, I said, one of these days I'm just going to snap. And they're telling me, don't act on it, let us do it. But they're not fucking doing their job.
Right.
Especially what I told you, like they want one more report. No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if it's just them being lazy here or what it is, but I just have this whole issue right now with these cops here.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That's messed up. The whole one more report thing genuinely
And
puts.
then come to find out, because a friend of mine, I think she was in the group chat with us, Melanie. Like we're trying to find these people and bring justice to like our children, not like only for my daughter, but like for all these children that like are being swept under the rug. You know what I mean? And the thing that I know is that when it was discussed in the interview, she didn't like really talk too much about it because it was just like touching, right? There was no penetration or nothing. I don't even like even thinking about that right now. But so like in cases like with her, it's just like to me and probably everybody else, it's just say it's okay, like with whomever is doing it, it's okay. They're gonna get it, do it again and again, not get caught. Fuck that shit. Nope.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. It's
Now I'm
like,
getting pissed off again.
it's gonna stop now. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I agree.
So we're trying to come together and just kind of like we're not doing like the whole Musa thing because I don't want to do that. Like I would be scared, but I know where there's some pedophiles here, and of course my mouth will fly, and I don't care if anybody hears what I'm saying to them. I really don't care.
Right.
why are they fucking walking the street?
Yep.
You know, like the other day, I had to go to court for a parking ticket, for a stupid parking ticket that I have to pay outside my apartment building because there's meters, and so I have to pay that. So I was in the courtroom, well, in the waiting room,
Yeah.
and this lady, she, like, we were kind of talking about this, but like, and it's so weird how like word gets around and how like people feel about the justice system.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sitting there, this lady's like, you know, I can't believe we're here for parking tickets when there's fucking diddlers outside walking around the streets, da 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 da. I'm like, I know. It's like, it's ridiculous. And then
Yep.
she asked me if I knew about, it's funny, about my ex, right? I'm like, that
Mm-hmm.
was my ex-fiance. She's like, I'm so sorry. And she gave me a hug. And she made me cry because it's like, people here know, and it's like, they're trying to reach out, and it's weird.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah, it's messed up because it's like clearly, he's made a name for himself, and not a good one,
no, not at all.
you know.
Not at all.
Okay. Well, I'm
So
proud
that's
of
my
you.
story. I'm going to stop there before I really lose my brain.
Well, I'm proud of you for, all the fighting you're doing and for coming up here and telling everybody about it. Because I think
Thank
it's
you.
going to bring more awareness to it, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Like,
it's
it
huge.
just needs to stop because, like, not only her, but, you know, like, growing up, like, how, and we mentioned this at her interview, we mentioned to, I don't know if it was an interviewer, I forget. It was a lady. Um, you know, about like healthy relationships, like later in life when she starts dating and you know, this and that. So I mean, it's going to be a long road for her.
Right.
You know? And yeah, and
But
like I
you just
said, this is all just fresh and new still. And sometimes I feel lost because the police didn't really do what they were supposed to do, like protect and serve. You know.
Yeah, it's easy to feel 100% let down in every aspect, in that situation. Um,
And then I resort to drinking, in which I'm just like I'm kind of scared about that, but I don't know. I
well,
drink a
don't hold so much guilt on yourself because it will destroy you, Um, it's hard. I know, like it's literally one of those easier said than done things. But just keep reminding yourself, that you're doing all you can. You're doing the right thing. Um, and just keep supporting her and reminding her, every chance you can, as she grows up, how proud you are of her, that you hear her and you see her and you believe her, and you're not going to stop until you get her justice. Um, those are going to be huge for her. So,
I know, like the other thing about all this is that, like, I understand, like, her father, God, he's got like issues too.
mhm,
Um, but I know how he works. I know how he thinks or whatever, and I understand that, like, he doesn't want her to be here. Um, and which I kind of agree with that too. But at the same time, this is my home. But the way it was explained to me, he's like, if you like witnessed a murder, would you go back to the crime scene? I'm like, no. So
yeah,
now I have to like put myself together here and like go find a different place to move to, so she doesn't have like the memories of being here. Because I don't even like being here, to be honest with you. I hate it here because it just there's so much negativity in this little ass apartment that I can't,
right.
you know. And I'm just and like ever since all this has been going on, I haven't. The only time I've seen and talked to my daughter was at the interview. Okay,
Yeah,
and it was known not last week, but the week before at the custody hearing, because we were trying to figure out like what to do and like we needed the PFA to stick. Um, I haven't talked to her or seen her since then, besides the interview. And from what I understand, is that Now there's no like paper or legal documents or anything, but it was suggested that she and him just cut communication until all this is like done.
Yeah.
Like, how long is that gonna fucking last? You know, because I still
Right.
have Christmas presents,
Yeah, exactly.
and
Exactly.
you know, her brothers miss her. I
Yeah.
miss her.
Yeah, I'm
So
sure
like,
we're
it's like,
going through some
what
form of
is
health.
she? It's fucked up.
Yeah, it really is. Well, like Rockstar said, we're here, you know, so if you need anything, don't hesitate to message us, you know,
Okay. I appreciate it.
anything.
I appreciate you, Sandra. Thank you.
Thank you.
I
You
appreciate
guys,
brother too.
Emily came in
Listening
late,
now.
so I didn't get to say she was in here. So my bad, Emily. um, but yeah, so I mean, again, just remind yourself, you know, that you're doing all you can, you know. So, how are you doing, Emily?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you up here.
It's
I
good
felt
being
bad when
here.
you're like, I just woke up.
Hey, Emily.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Um, that's one thing like she was telling about as a mother, I see it in my mom, my mom worries about me all the time. Just going out and stuff like that, she tries to push me harder. And she's stronger than me. I mean, she's so much stronger than me. Going out and doing things, I still have issues being around people, being touched. I went into a panic attack Saturday because this lady at church went and came up behind me and she was just trying to teach me how to breathe when I sang because I'm leadership over the worship team. And when she came up to me and like put her arms on me trying to show me how to breathe, I had a huge meltdown. And my mom, she didn't know what to do, and that's the thing, it's hard on parents too, they struggle through it. And I hate seeing my mom struggle because it's like watching your mom struggle and not know what to do. It's like you want to be strong for them. You don't want them feeling the pain that you're feeling too.
Yep. It's hard to shield them from the same thing you're feeling, you know what I mean? But I mean, they're gonna hurt. I mean, because they love you know what I mean? My mom went through the
Yeah.
same thing. And it's hard to kind of, you know, bring them back to reality and be like, I need you to be strong for me so I can, you know, let it out
Yeah,
too, you know? But it's like, you know, you guys both kind of got to go through the process together, you know what I mean?
exactly. I'm so used to always being the rock for everybody else, and it's like I'm not used to having people be the rock for me. It's tough.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, because I think we talked a little bit about that.
We did. And, it's been months ago and I still struggle. I think all the time, what could I have done differently? Like, I didn't know this was gonna happen. If I could have just gotten away. And it's like, I know it's not my fault. It's never our fault, but it's just that thing that lingers in the back of your mind. What could I have done differently to prevent this?
Yeah. And there's nothing really. I mean, I can't stress that enough. Like, there is nothing that any of us could have done to change what happened. You know, I genuinely feel like these people are who they are and they'll do what they do no matter what time frame it is. It's opportunity for them, um, you know, which is shitty. Uh, I don't know, but I've been chatting with you a lot more in text and stuff, and I have just been so super proud of you.
Thank you.
But yeah, so if you want to tell chat your story, you can do
Okay.
that.
It happened a few months back. I was at a party. I just went through a major breakup, so at that time, I didn't want to be home. I didn't want to be by myself, so I was like, I knew all these people. I went to this party, and I didn't know that when the door closes, it locks behind you, and you can't open it from the inside. Um, and we were just sitting there talking, and just I didn't expect it to happen. I told him multiple times, I was like, yo, like, I don't want this to go any further. Please leave me alone. And he wouldn't stop. Um, and next thing I know, like, he's on top of me. I'm like, please just stop. Like, I hear my sister in the background. Please stop. My sister needs me. And at that time, I was like, oh God, like, what do I do? It's that thing that goes through your mind, like, how do I get out of here? Like, how do I get myself out of this situation? I was like trying everything, like, hey, look, my sister's in the background, my sister needs me, like, please stop so I can go to her. And he literally looked me dead in the eye with like no expression on his face, and he's like, you can't leave me like this. And I just laid there. Like, I remember I had no expression on my face, and I just laid there, and I started sobbing, like I was crying. And I was like, please just get off me. And as soon as like he
Right.
was about to finish, he literally looked me dead in the eye, and just like, he wouldn't come inside me, and he just jacked off, and it was all over me, all over the bed. And I remember I started screaming at that point, because I was like, I felt growth. I felt like
Right.
everything inside me, I wanted to scrub my body off, like, to the point where like I was raw, like, all red. And I remember my sister finally hearing me, and her boyfriend and her came to the door, and they grabbed it open. And I remember I ran straight to my sister's car. I couldn't think of anything else. And I looked at my sister, because she followed me, and she's like, what just happened? And I couldn't even talk. I was just in tears, and I was like, sis, please get me out of here. I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. I was like, I need to go. And it's that
Right.
thing, I've always, my little sister, I've always been the rock for her. I've always told her, hey, like, don't put yourself in these situations. And here I am in this situation.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it's like not us. It's like one of those things too. Like, I mean, it's hard to not put yourself in that situation. You're living your life. You're doing your normal things. You know what I mean? Again, it's not your fault. That you were taken advantage of at all,
Exactly.
in any way, shape, or form. You know, and we do say that an awful lot to other people. Like, try to be aware of your surroundings. Don't put yourself in these types of positions. But it's like we're also conditioning people to think that if it happens, they put themselves in that position when they didn't. You know, so it's like
You
tough
know,
to find the right words to say. I usually just tell people, try to be aware of your surroundings at all times. I'm going to put an updated list too of apps and stuff on my community page. But there's apps and stuff that you can use to have on your phones. So if you're at a party or walking through a park, like, you can press the button, and keep your finger on the button until, you leave or you're through the park. And once you're done, you can let go of the button, and then you notify you're safe or whatnot. If you let go of the button and don't say, yes, I'm safe, or I'm okay, whatever it says, it will alert the local police department to come to your location, because it will know you're not okay, obviously, because you're not responding. Um, but I think there should have been more stuff like that years ago. You know, um, there's a lot of things that are out there now, to help as a preventative for survivors, which is great. I think it's just people don't know to look for it. They don't know they exist. They don't, we're not used to having that stuff. Well, I'll make sure I get the list that I had put up last time, and I'll post it up on the community post, so you guys can download it. there's a few of them, you know, but there's ones for families, you know, to keep track of where your kids are, um, whether it be through phones or little GPS tags and stuff. So there's a whole bunch of things out there that we can now do to kind of set in place to kind of keep a better eye out, you know, and be more aware of our surroundings, you know.
And that's the thing, you know, like you said, we are so accustomed to say, watch your surroundings. So, you know, you don't get in a sticky situation. We're so used to hearing that. But like you said, it's not our fault. You know, we don't go out and expect things to happen. We're like, okay, well, I've known these people. Let's go, you know, let's have fun. And then all of a sudden they happen and it changes your whole entire aspect on life. Like you don't want to go out anymore. You don't want to go to parties because you don't know if that person that you were friends with is going to do it to you too, you know. And
Right.
it's so hard for me to go out anymore. It's like I want to just stay in my house and be sheltered.
Yep. Oh yeah. I mean, it's hard. I mean, it definitely, I think, deters you from actually living a life, you know. Uh, I mean, I got to a point where I like gave up fully too, you know. I was like homeless on the streets, you know, doing drugs under a bridge, and I just didn't want to feel shit anymore. I didn't, you know, I was cutting. I mean, it was just, I felt like I had no desire to continue to keep going, you know. It was kind of like I just
It's
threw my
like
hands up in the air and was like, well, you know, if they, you know, if they take me now, they take me now, you know, don't save me from the rest of the pain, you know, I won't have to deal with it anymore. But I, when I got arrested, I have genuinely called it my blessing in disguise. Like people ask me all the time if I regret going to prison. I don't. Oddly enough, but I feel like it saved me. Like I got sober, I had to kick, you know, dope and pills in there, which is not fucking fun at all. Comfort meds they give you in there to come off of drugs, they don't give you methadone. They don't, you know, you don't get Suboxone. You get like Tums and Compazine for to not throw up. You know, that's it. They're like, and they leave you in a bed, you know, so while you're sweating for like 4 or 5 days, you're staying in the bed in the infirmary, you know, the first week. So it's not fun, but it saved my ass big time. By the time I got out of Framingham, it was like, you know, I kind of had a realization. It's like, I don't want to live like that anymore, like trying to mask all this pain. I wasn't allowing myself to feel anything. Um, I will never even forget the first time I genuinely had a full on cry after all of that. I mean, it felt so good to get it out. I'd just been so numb for years. And, you know, I would rather get high and be falling asleep, you know, cooking or trying to clean on the floor, you know, and passing out, and instead of genuinely allowing myself to deal with all the pain, you know, because after the pain, there's a smile, you know. Um, that's why I said to you that day, nothing grows without water, you know. So,
exactly. After every storm there's a rainbow. You have to go and find it, you know, and it's so hard. You're like you get to this point where you're so numb and you're so scared of people that you just sit, you know. I catch myself all the time just sitting in my room staring at the ceiling and thinking, you know, and it makes it 10 times worse sitting
right.
there and just dwelling on it. It's like it kills you on the inside. Staying in one place, it kills you, but at the same time it's like it's your safe place because you're like, okay, well, nothing can happen here, but then you put your mind
Right.
in a worse situation.
Yeah. Yep. You definitely do for sure. I mean, and that's like I think since my counselor had said that to me, that phrase "nothing grows without water," I looked at things completely different. because it's like it may be, burying a seed, but at the end of it, it's turns into a flower. You know what I mean? Ultimately, there is a brighter side to it all. It's not, yes, you're going to have to go through the pain. Yes, it sucks at the time, but you got to find little things here and there to kind of keep you pushing through. Um, and it takes a lot to get there, a lot. It's not easy. So like the people who genuinely say, oh well, get over it or whatever. It's that stuff gets to me the most, I think, because it's like those are the people have never dealt with those types of situations.
Exactly.
If they can say to you so easily, get over it, or oh well, it's in the past, it shouldn't be bothering you now. No, I live with this every day. I'm the one who sat in the shower scrubbing myself till my skin bled. I'm the one who sat in the corner getting my ass beat, my teeth knocked out, shooting up dope under a bridge with muddy puddles. I mean, I'm that person. Um, it's things that, I'm never going to fully get rid of, but I can work with them, and change the outcome. So instead of ending up in a body bag or in prison for the rest of my life, I'm now choosing to help other survivors to find their voice. Um, well, and like I said, you'll be able to work with your sister too, and get her through her tough times, and um, I think it'd be good for you both. You know, um, but she's seeing that she's allowed to have those feelings and allowed to have the room to make mistakes or you know even make decisions for herself and not feel so controlled or like it's going to be wrong if she does something specific. um, it's hard because we want to be protective too.
Yeah, and I catch myself all
But
the time. She's 18 now, and it's like I catch myself all the time. Please don't go there. And then she's like, "But this, it's gonna be fun." And I'm like, "But I don't want you to go through the things I've been going through." And she's like, "You can't protect me." She's like, "I'm 18 now." She's like, "I have my own life. I want to have fun in life." And I was like, I don't want to see her go through what I've been through. It affects me every single day, and people don't understand that. My sister finally understands it because she's seen me go through it, and she's seen me struggle, and she's like, I understand. But most people don't understand. They don't see people go through it. They think, oh well, it happened, you should be over it by now, and that's not how it works. It's a struggle that you face every single day.
yeah, it really is. I mean, it never fully goes away, but in a way, it can kind of suppress. You know what I mean? It's like it's not as difficult. Um, like I remind myself the addict I once was, or the terrible positions I was in, because it keeps me from going back to that. And I'm extra cautious now. I am that weird mom in the store that I'm like, the kids better have their hands on the cart at all times. They know not to step away from me in any way, shape, or form. Um, I mean, God, when we're outside, I mean, even going to or from the bus, I genuinely don't let them take longer than if I'm walking down to the bus, they better be right up on me. Because I'm nervous, you know what I mean, and I know what area I live in. So it's nerve wracking. I don't trust a lot of these people, um, but I also like, do I want to go to jail? No, I don't. So I'm trying to like fully watch my ass too, as well as there. um, but I feel like it's hard. I think we need that opportunity there without being so aggressive about it, you know. So it's a little different now, thankfully, but you know, it's just still scary. I mean, that's what the world we live in now, and all we can
It
really do is keep fighting against, you know. Hello, Miss Jen.
Hi. How are
Hi, Jen.
you? How's everybody?
You.
I had
Hi.
oh, how's everybody doing?
Good.
We all heard the
My
story.
my
Good.
rainbow
How are
hair.
you?
It's crazy because I have this
Thank
on
you,
my
Speed Freak.
but it's lagged. So
Go ahead. Oh, I know. I think it, and it's not helping. My Wi-Fi is wonky.
yeah,
Um,
so
all day yesterday, I couldn't send or receive texts. I couldn't call out or get calls. My data wasn't working at all, and my Wi-Fi was working, but my data wouldn't work, so I couldn't, you know, message anybody or get any messages. I'm like, what the hell? There's got to be a tower down somewhere. But this
got
morning, when I brought the kids to the bus, my Wi-Fi shut off and my data went on. It kind of like reset my phone, so I just been keeping it off the Wi-Fi all day, so it will stay on my data and won't mess it up.
See, I'm all the way out in the middle of the woods, so I don't get data out here. I have Wi-Fi or nothing.
yeah,
Right?
that's
That's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's crazy. I mean,
basically
I
enough.
I have a better signal, like, you know, when I'm using my Wi-Fi and my data, but I try to not use my Wi-Fi in the house if possible because, like, the boys use it for their switches or the PlayStation.
Yeah,
The TVs are hooked up to it, you know, so I try
right.
to not
Hmm.
do it if I don't have to. But if it automatically connects and I can't disconnect, I have no way to contact nobody.
Oh man.
It's like, fuck.
I
My
went with
mom messaged her. She's like, I messaged you like 8 times today and I haven't heard anything. Well, my phone's not working, so
crazy how internet and phones and technology was supposed to be so helpful and it seems to be a pain in the ass sometimes. You know,
right.
Yep.
Yep, it really
sometimes
is.
I don't think it's as perfect as they claim it to be.
Yeah, exactly.
People make
Exactly.
mistakes. You need a computer to really fuck things up.
Yep, exactly. It's funny because that's what I say. I'm like, everything's fine until I have access to the phone or the computer.
Uh, I heard all of the stories, and you guys are extremely strong. And I know you guys think that, maybe there was something you could have done to prevent it, and there isn't. Just know that you did nothing wrong at all. Your behavior, the way you dressed, the way you spoke, the way you said hello, nothing.
Right.
None of it was your fault, and none of it, could have probably been prevented. So don't feel guilty in any way about that. Just so you know.
Right.
And you know, I I did a story last week, but I just want you guys to know that trauma, if you don't talk about it and you don't try to deal with those pains, they will manifest as real pain, autoimmune disorders, and all kinds of other problems like fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome. And then they're going to want to put you on medication. And it's all it is because we've been traumatized, and your bodies go into hyper overdrive, and then your body's releasing cortisol does all kinds of things to your lymph system and your adrenal glands and things like that. Then you can go into adrenal fatigue, which can cause you all kinds of other problems, and they can't diagnose it because the problem is the trauma. So we have to be a little more understanding as a society that that's what's happening to so many people on so many levels. But there's a lot of help out there, and if I can ever help you guys, I will. In a heartbeat, I'll help you. I've done a lot to heal myself and my trauma. I have some amazing products and things that can help. I have some resources. I'd be willing to help you in any way that I can to help you move through your trauma as I've had moved my own. So yeah, I just wanted you guys to know that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I muted. The baby was talking.
That's fantastic.
Blaze came by and he brought his son, so he's over here like, everybody else was talking. It's my turn now, guys.
Yeah. Hey, Rockstar, you did an amazing job on that piece.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I started working on that like before we did the first, but I just didn't know like what to say over like, the voiceover part.
Yeah.
But after that after our first Survivor stream, it was like I know exactly what I'm gonna say now. This taught me so much,
Yeah.
especially not being a survivor and just being a catcher. Like I learned what real strength looks like, and it's everybody that's on the screen right now, and everybody that's in the chat, and everybody that supports. Like that's a real hero. That's real strength.
Right.
I appreciate you all so
Thank
much.
you all.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Um,
Yeah, it was absolutely perfect. The voiceover. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it, Kel, or Sandra, but it was. I mean, I almost cried last night when he sent it to me. I'm like, oh my god, no, he didn't. I was like, so I'm sending it to everybody. I'm like, look at what Rockstar did for the stream. It was so sweet.
he did a great job.
Everybody
Yeah.
that I sent. Oh my god,
Sabby,
that's so perfect.
She had commented that not everybody's trauma is the same, so it's hard to understand other people's traumas. And I understand that completely. Like I said the other day, you can't compare one trauma to another trauma because your trauma isn't worse than anybody else's because we look through a filter. But what I can say to that is I can have empathy and understanding because of the similarities that I have with people that have had trauma. Am I going to understand it specifically? No, because I didn't have the experiences that person had prior to that or after. However, I can understand on a level better than most because of the trauma that I have suffered. So, but I am always willing to try to understand.
That's what unites survivors as a whole anyway, is the fact that it was a relatable trauma in some form or another, so it's like, and even DV survivors, I mean, the fact that there are groups of people, not just here but somewhere in the world, that are willing to stand together and kind of push back and and speak up for themselves. Amazing. But it's like, you kind of get together and you're like, well, damn, I like this group, like we're all in the process of healing and fighting back. So I think it's, you can't really fully understand each person's situation, but you can relate,
Absolutely.
in some form or another.
And a relatable issue. I mean, maybe there's things that I've done that have helped me that I can help you with, and maybe there's things that you have done that maybe will help me, assist me in some way.
Right.
And I think that's what's most important. And everybody in this group is doing an amazing job.
Right. Well, that's what I was saying to Emily the other day. Is it's like you kind of pick each other up where the other one feels as they're falling. If I have some kind of advice that can help you, I'm gonna give it to you. You take it or leave it. But I just want to see you through it. And I think a lot of survivors are the same way. Even if they are stuck in being scared to speak up fully, sometimes you get to a certain spot in your life and you're like, I'm just exhausted. Like I'm at this point and this is the kind of help I need. What can I do?
Absolutely. I think if people that are dealing with some sort of trauma have the ability and the understanding of what is exactly happening in their body, they can be proactive to be able to stop it before it continues. Because a lot of people, most people are not aware that when your body goes into fight or flight, it goes into hyper overdrive of cortisol and a lot of the different chemicals in your brain. When that happens, it fries your nerve endings, which will cause if you don't stop that, it will later on in life harm you. It causes swelling in your heart, in your arteries. It causes a lot of problems, and it puts a lot of stress on your brain and your neural pathways in your brain. So you want to be able to. I'm not saying you have to heal immediately. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if people are aware that this is happening in their system, they can, do a little more exercise or go swimming or make sure they get out into nature more, things like that to try to calm their nervous system so that they don't end up having seizures, other problems down the road because of it.
Yep, absolutely.
Rockstar, do you have any more court cases coming up?
Yeah, there's I have 8 active right now.
Awesome.
Most of them are going to like the sentencing phase. They took either a plea deal or something like that.
Right.
There's 2 that are new. The one catch that Musa did with me, Eric Marsh, he was charged with 6 felonies. And then there was another one that was on New Year's Eve that Musa went and got. His name is Kyle Kendig, and he had 6 felonies also. So,
wow.
Yeah, he was trying to meet with a 14-year-old girl that was extremely drunk. I was literally in the text messages, like putting random letters and everything. So he really came out to meet a girl that was 14 and insanely intoxicated to take her behind a building.
Unreal.
Right.
Yeah.
Real.
Yeah. So, but he's fighting
zero shame. That's what that is.
So we're gonna see
zero shame.
Yeah,
exactly.
He said that somebody set him up. It's all the same excuses and things like that.
Yep.
Like, oh, I just happened to be walking down the road at the exact same time that I just told you.
Yeah. I was conveniently buying the same Gatorade you asked me to get.
Yeah.
So happens to be.
Yeah, just so happens.
I'm like, I honestly feel like they go to freaking school together. Like they have a freaking secret club, and they learn these stupid excuses.
Well, there's a lot of them that do talk about that kind of stuff to each other. I've had that happen in all of my decoys. Like one talks to the other. I've caught best friends before. The one shared our text video of his best friend, and we caught him a week later. So they definitely communicate about this kind of stuff.
Right. They all can just go to jail and sit and communicate some more all by themselves.
There you go.
Plain and simple.
Yep.
They can just go hang out there.
The one court case that's coming up is actually the intro that I made for the Survivor stream. That was the he was the one that was arrested.
Nice.
Oh, good.
He also admitted.
I'm sorry too. I was dying with his shirt. When you guys did that catch, I was like, literal center of attention. Like, this guy's like, all eyes on me, please.
Yeah, so it turned out that was actually his softball uniform. And I did end up talking to a couple of the teammates and people that played softball with him. And like all the people that are there, it was his uniform. So a lot of people wear that uniform. But they're all absolutely amazing people. They had no idea he was anything like that. I mean, there was a couple people who said he was weird and everything. But what really got me about him was in the messages, he admitted to a 3-year relationship with 14.
Oh my God.
And then it turned out that it possibly was true. I heard things, but you never really know.
Right.
But if he did it before, he would definitely have done it again.
Oh, yeah. They don't stop, ever. Like, never.
Right.
They say that they can be castrated and cured and all these things, but no, it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
There is no curing that. I don't care what you do. And they seem to find God every time they go to prison, but I don't know. It's not like he can save them from that. just because you found God doesn't mean that that's going to cure you. You know, I don't understand it, and I don't understand why they protect them, and I don't understand why they're so lenient with them.
Yeah.
I would rather see them get life in prison. You know, I mean, and I said this like last week. I
Oh
said
my goodness,
thing.
buddy.
If you find a dog and the dog bites you or bites the child, we put the dog down, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they're
Yeah.
going to harm a child that's going to ruin their life, and they're going to have severe trauma and problems later in life. That's basically killing that child. It kills
Yep.
a part of you. It
Right.
really
Yeah.
does. So why aren't we putting them down? Humanity?
Just my opinion. A
Right.
bullet's cheaper than life in prison.
It is way cheaper.
Yeah.
But you want to know why they don't? I'll tell you why
Because
they
it's
don't.
inhumane.
No, it's not even that. It's money.
Mhm.
They make money if they're in prison
I was
because
gonna
a
say.
prison is a for-profit
Yep.
system. The more people that are in that prison, the more money they're going to get from the state. So they want them there because if they're in protected custody, they're worth more money from the state. And that's why. It
Right.
has nothing to do with them
Yep.
not caring about killing them, because they'll kill a murderer, no problem. I don't have I have a problem with murderers, but I mean, they're kind of second on my list of people that we can
Yeah.
get rid of. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
at least you can pinpoint them, you know,
Yeah.
times out of 10. But I mean, someone like that, a pedophile, runs the gamut of literally everybody anymore, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just horrible. But I wonder this, even though it doesn't excuse it, it doesn't nothing. But if they were abused as a child, they
Right.
usually say that abuse follows abuse. So
Mm-hmm.
they should go back and find out who abused them and put them in prison too. I mean, obviously put the pedophile in
Yep.
prison, but I mean, it runs a line. So they
Yeah.
should be going after
Yeah.
all of them, because that doesn't mean that his abuser stopped abusing. I mean, regardless of
Yep.
what they did, there's still a line of predation. So their mother, their father,
Right.
brother, uncle, aunt, whatever, could have been abusing that person, which in turn, since they thought that that was the right way and that's what was right, because that's how they were brought up, that was their mentality. So that's what they were trying to do. So that's what they do. I mean,
Yeah.
does it excuse
Mm-hmm.
it? No, but is
No.
that why this is
Right.
happening so prevalently? Is that
Yeah.
why everybody's just abusing everybody because they were abused? Doesn't make it right again.
Yeah.
But
No,
someone
not
who
at all.
beats his wife, you know, or children, they're gonna grow up and they're gonna beat their significant other because they were beat. So
Right.
I'm just
Monkey
saying
see,
that,
monkey do.
yeah. So I mean, if we're gonna start putting everybody in prison, we should put everybody in prison that hurt everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, it's not gonna stop the people that abuse those people. I don't even know what the
Right.
solution would be. I don't have a solution for it. I know one thing. There's a lot of people on this planet that are extremely angry. And I know where anger comes from. Anger comes from anxiety and fear most times. That's why you have anger. You see it in animals a lot. If an animal is loved, they never have a fierceness to them except for protection. But if they're abused, they're going to bite the hand that feeds them just because they're feared and they're anxious and they don't have reasoning because they're an animal. So a human is in the same concept. So when you pin a human down and you abuse them and they grow up and they know that abuse, they're going to do the same thing. But
Right.
the human has reason. So in some instances, they can be rehabilitated. In some pedophiles, I don't think so, because they're just damaged beyond belief. If you get
Right.
somebody that may have raped a woman when they were 20 years old, I'm not saying that that is not bad, but if they did it once and they were drugged out or something like that, I'm sure after about 30 or 40 years of therapy, maybe they could change that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do know that abuse begets abuse. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to stop the abuse at the basic level, because any abuse is not right. Doesn't matter what it is. Bullies, you know, they learn that from their parents. Children are not born.
Yeah.
They learn it.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Definitely learn the behavior.
Yeah, exactly. So unless they're able to heal their trauma, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to abuse their kids. They're going to abuse everybody around them because that's the environment that they were important.
And it's like in a
You know?
lot of families too, they shame the whole going to therapy thing. You know what I mean? So some of these people are, they even survivors that are, against it and have never offended on another person. It's like they're trapped in that space because you got family members who are like, A, don't want them to bring it up because it could have been a family member, it'll make them look bad, or therapy doesn't help, it's a waste of time. Um, there's always like help out there, but it's also there's so many stops in the road. And unless that person can find it in themselves to just push through it and fight back, it's tough. I mean, because it starts when you're young. I mean,
Right.
you are conditioned a certain way. You're told certain things. You experience certain things, and um, if I hadn't have gone through the stuff I went through, I may have had a different outcome.
Right.
Um, but I luckily, had supportive people who begged me to get therapy, begged me to come home and not be on the street. But I was embarrassed. But I mean, I was high 24/7.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be around my kids that way. So it was like I just didn't want to go home.
Right.
Um, but it's like by the time I got out of jail, it's like, I mean, what's really stopping me now? Like the next thing that's gonna happen to me is I'm gonna end up in a body bag. And I mean, I don't obviously got it in me to harm another person, in that way. Um, so it's like that was the next thing for me is
Right.
end up in a body bag. So it's like I need to get therapy.
Right. Well, I'm glad you didn't get
But
into
it's
one.
like, yeah, I mean, but you see it all the time. People like that they interview. I mean, that they're like, oh no, I never got into therapy. Like therapists, I changed too many therapists, and so it's like having to retell my story over and over, or my family didn't approve of the therapy idea. Nobody in my town offered support groups, or it's like if people would take the stigma away from you know being a victim or a survivor as a whole, I think it would ease up a lot. I think it would change things. Families would be less afraid to get their kids into therapy, or wouldn't be saying no, don't go get help.
Right.
They wouldn't be worried about being embarrassed. They'd be just focused on trying to help their kid instead of looking bad.
Right.
Towns could get more groups and more, victim services and stuff. But there's just so much stigma behind it, in my opinion, that it's a huge block in the road, unfortunately.
Well, you guys are breaking the stigma. You're helping more than anybody, because I don't know about anybody else, but in my own experience, if I'm going to talk to somebody about a situation, whether it's money or whether it's
Yeah.
surviving trauma, I want someone who's already done it. I don't
Yeah.
care how you achieved it. I want to know, because if you've already achieved what I want to achieve, I'm talking to you. I don't care if
Right.
you read a book. I don't care if you watched every video on it. If you've never truly experienced something like I have, something similar, don't talk to me,
Right.
because you obviously don't have the
Yep.
information I need. I'm not going to
Right.
go,
Well, that's
and
how
I
I've
want,
always been too. Is I don't want to be in therapy or drug counseling with somebody who learned it from a book. I want someone who's a recovering addict. I want someone who is a survivor. I want someone to understand why I'm angry, or why I'm spending 3 hours in the shower, or why my arms are cut up. I don't want to be told that it's wrong. I just want somebody to understand, to hear me, and tell me it'll be okay eventually. Just be there.
right.
Um, and there's just so much of the negative piece of it. It's hard to find that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're literally make it so it's difficult for people who have already been through it to get into those positions.
Because if
Um,
you thought you could recover, you wouldn't be on medication.
right.
The pharmaceutical
Yep.
companies don't make any money if you're healed. right?
Yep.
If you feel
Yep.
great, you're not going to go to them for Xanax. You're not going to go for Klonopin. You're
Right.
not going to go for any of those drugs. You're not going to go
Yep.
for antidepressants. If
Yeah.
you felt great, what do you need them for? They want to make
Yeah,
money.
exactly.
They want to
Takes
make
them
all
out
the
of the
money.
equation.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So that's why we're here. Plain and simple.
Yep.
We're taking
Absolutely.
them out.
Yeah.
Fired.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Right. You are fired.
Fired. Exactly.
You've been booted from the club. Okay.
100%. Yep. You take your toys and go home because you ain't playing no more. You know?
Right.
And I think that
Yep.
is what's coming, because people are tired of, going to a doctor and asking them for help and just getting a prescription. That makes
Yeah.
you feel so empty inside on all kinds of levels, because they don't even see you as a human being. They see you as money. And I think that is one of the worst things
Thank you, Sam.
Yes, thank you. I was trying to read it as I was talking.
That's amazing.
I have a hard time multitasking. But that's, I don't even remember where I was going with that, because I got sidetracked on a thing. But the doctors, they make you feel so empty, because you go in there and they say, oh, well, you need this pill, that pill, and buy. Like, they don't have any time, because they have 10,000, patients that come in because they want to make that almighty dollar. And they push pills without any thought process on what it's going to do to that person. They just don't care anymore. They used to care. They don't have a care anymore. And I don't know if it's because of, I don't know, the amount of people that are sick, but if they wouldn't prescribe so many medications, they wouldn't be so sick. If they actually thought about what could be hurting this person and try to get to the root cause, to heal the root cause, then they wouldn't have to take the medication in the first place. But again, then they wouldn't make any money. So, I mean, it's a vicious cycle for them, but I'd rather a cure than a life sentence of trauma,
Yep.
Mr. Samuel, I'm still looking at your comment, and you say that you're a no one in this community, but that's not true. You are a someone.
Absolutely.
You are a real hero. That's always remember that. You will always be someone.
Everybody needs to know, no matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you are a janitor or if you're the president. Well, I don't know about this president. He's kind of a potato. Excuse me for saying so, but everybody has a purpose, and everybody is very appreciated. I like potatoes, but that potato's kind of full of eyes and brown spots. But he's got hairy legs, so he said. But I'm just saying, everybody's got a purpose, and the ones who think they're not pretty are the most gorgeous people on the planet, and the ones that don't think that they're worth anything are worth their weight in gold. So just know that, it's more important to see that we are something and hold that opinion of ourselves much better, and not listen to anything anybody else says, because understand this, that every single person walking next to you is dealing with something that we have no information about, and they could be just breaking down around us. And we just kind of have to hold our heads high to know that we're still here for a purpose. We all have a purpose. Right. And it's going to take an army to heal the trauma that has been inflicted on everybody. But I think this is a very strong community that's here for everyone.
Yeah, I think so too. Yes, Samuel, it's me. Thought you'd been in my stream before and you've seen my face before. He's like, oh my God, is that you, Just Jules? Amazing to see your face.
I want to shout out
usually in like
Bryden puts out so much. I want to shout out Bryden's real quick. He puts out so much good educational content for this community.
He really
learned
does
so much stuff from that, and it's actually one of the things that kind of pushed me to want to start doing this and try to like give back more and do more. So it's a lot of stuff that really motivated me to continue doing more.
I'm typing in Bryden's new channel too right now.
He's worth his weight in fool's gold, he says. Listen, I think I'd rather have fool's gold at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
No gold. I'm a fool, and I'll own it. So, I mean, does it shine? Is it sparkly? I'm down. I love shiny things.
Yeah,
Jen, your hair looks amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
I know. I seen her when you came in, and I'm like, ooh, I'm like, she really looks like a unicorn.
Yeah, this is my unicorn hair. So it brightens up my face. I got my eyelashes done today, and there's blue in there. So
well, there you go.
Yeah, blue eyelashes. It's absolutely amazing. I was like, they come in blue. They just make me feel happy.
I was gonna say I didn't know.
I usually end up with them poking
like,
me in the eye, but damn, they're fun. You know, the lady who does them, she's a really good friend of mine, and she told me, she goes, "Okay, Jen, when you go home, tell your husband no rough sex for at least 24 hours, or you'll ruin your eyelashes." I'm like, damn, you just ruined my night, didn't you? I'm like, oh, dude. She's like, no showering, no oil on your face, you'll ruin your eyelashes. I'm like, damn. And they took 2 hours to do. So.
Right. Emily said thank you to everybody. She had to go to take care of her mom. I told her it was fine because we're about to be ending anyway, so I can get the boys off the bus. But we just wanted to make sure that everybody knew. She said thank you.
The boys are almost home from school now.
Oh yeah, 3 o'clock. I go out and get them off the bus.
Nice.
Luckily, though, now they have like an alert from the bus company, so it'll tell me when the bus is like 50 feet away, or
Oh, that's cool.
So I'm like, thank God, because I don't. It's really cold out. Like today, it ain't bad, but if it's a cold day, I won't go out until I get the damn alert. I'm like, nah, I'm not waiting outside in that shit. Are you fucking new?
Where were you?
Not doing it.
Did you have like the negative 113? Or was it
me?
Yeah.
No, we had, I mean, it felt negative 28, but it got to like negative 13 where I am. Yeah.
Ouch.
It was cold.
Yeah, I don't like.
Kept saying, "Oh, we're having an Arctic blast." I'm like, "Great, time to turn up the heaters."
All of it. Yeah. Oh my God. I sleep with like 6 blankets anyway, but it was like negative 10 here. I'm like, I need more blankets. My husband goes, "I'll never find you. You'll have like 13 blankets." I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah. I usually I'll keep my window in my room cracked open because my son has a bad asthma problem, and if the air is dry and stuff, he'll get a nosebleed. So like I'll keep the heater on, but the window cracked open, and you can feel the cool air coming in. So we got like 2 comforters and a fleece blanket on the bed, and they're like, both of the boys are like, "Can I come lay in your bed and let me take the blanket?" It's like, you can just wrap yourself up in a fleece blanket and just, do your thing.
That's fantastic.
Get out of the bed all night,
Me with all my blankets.
We slept in the bed. Yeah. I mean, it's like, I kept saying too, I'm like, if I had the cat laying on my feet right now, I mean, this would be cool.
Yeah, my one cat sleeps on my head, so I have like a hat on all night, and then I have one that sleeps on my right side, and then one that sleeps at the foot of the bed. So I'm like encased in the cat, and they're not little; they're 20 pounds. They're big cats.
Right.
So
yeah, well, at least you're warm.
Oh, I'm totally. It's amazing.
My cat's like, nah, I'll go in and bother the other kids. I'm good. She won't come in my room at night. I don't let her in my room at night because of Noah's allergies. He's got an animal dander allergy.
Oh, okay.
So he's fine to be around her, but if he picks her up and cuddles with her or pets her for too long and touches his face, like, his face is all swollen and he's sneezing all night. It's like, so it ends up being a Benadryl night for him, and he hates it. So I don't let the cat come in my room at night anymore, but she used to love sleeping on my feet and stuff. It was just so funny. Like,
if he starts getting an allergy again, do you have any more lotion? Put that on his face.
Really?
Yeah, that is anti-inflammatory. It helps with allergies. It's actually amazing for it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It works super good.
I didn't know that.
a bug repellent. It's good for bug bites. It's good for acne. It's good for
Yep.
neuropathy. I mean, literally.
Right.
Um,
That's cool.
did you eat all the edibles?
I still got a couple of my peach ones left. Yep.
Oh, nice. The CBG. That's
I've
good
only
stuff.
been here a short time, but some habits I have are actually making sense now. Oh, that's a good one, Samuel. But yeah, Samuel, that would make sense. I mean, until you started actually paying attention to it, it's kind of hard to really fully understand where they come from. I questioned the things I was doing for so long and thought, oh, I did it for fun because the doctor was prescribing me these pain medications for, the lump in my spine, and I just abused it. But no, every day I was taking more and more because it's like I realized I wasn't having these feelings anymore. I didn't have to cry. I didn't have to be sad. I didn't have to worry about it. It was just full on numbness. I basically walked around like a zombie all day, every day.
Yep.
Yep.
Or even with drinking. Like I never had a full issue with drinking. But I noticed, if I was stressing the fuck out, I'm like, oh, I'll just take a nip, and I'll be
Yeah.
fine. It's like, what? For what? For why? I mean, what am I doing to myself? Like,
Absolutely.
um,
And I think that's one thing that people don't understand. They'll do these behaviors and habits, but they don't know why they form them in the first place.
right.
I mean, 99.999% of anybody that has any kind of addiction at all, I don't even care what it is, it's because of trauma.
Yeah.
Trauma
Yep.
causes the addiction because the addiction is the escape. The escape is from the reality because the reality is no longer conducive to the human spirit. So
Right.
then
Yep.
you're trying to
100%.
so now with knowing that, you can correct the behavior because then you can treat the trauma that will in turn get rid of the addiction. And,
Right.
and that's what people don't understand. And even if you go to a therapist and they told you that, I still wouldn't believe them. You know why? Because they didn't go through what I went through. But if somebody who went through what I went through or similar and said that to me, I'd be like, oh, you understand. You got through what you went through, so maybe that will help me because it's similar. I can see the similarities.
I mean, even in all honesty, like my therapist has never been through anything of what I went through. But I've been with her for like 5 or 6 years, but she's very empathetic and she's patient and she genuinely gives a shit. And I feel like a lot of the therapists who have not been through it are not that. They just want to give you the direct out of the book response, and how does that make you feel? Like, no, I like fucking have a conversation with me. It's kind of like I'm trying to work through the staff meeting that I usually have in my head. I would like to have that like in an actual human conversation with another person and not just the other me.
Absolutely.
But it's like, and that's why I have stayed with her because she is that. Like, she is she's very quick to tell me how fucked up my ex is, like without hesitation. She's like, well, do you think that's your fault or do you think that's just because he's being a dick? It's like, because he's being a dick, you're right. But I think her not being so like uptight and so out of the book helps. So even if somebody can find a therapist like that, I mean, if they have an experience what you experience, like take it.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, as long as you're comfortable with that person and that you know that they have good intention. I mean, talk to anybody that you feel comfortable with, because then it gives you that outlet to get those feelings out, because energy in motion is emotion. So you have to move that emotion, and the only exit that you can, sometimes it's crying, sometimes it's screaming, sometimes it's throwing things like accident things. Not that I've done that, but sounds like
it is partly JFK. I fully agree with that.
Amazing therapy. And I think that we have to come together as a society and not be ashamed about doing these things. And just accepting a different way to being able to handle whatever that trauma may be, because just because it worked for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. It might not be the same, you know.
I sadly enough was born a dick and just grew bigger.
Well, I don't know how sad it is unless it's down to your knees, and then maybe it's a problem. But
he cracked me up. But yeah, I agree with that, JFK. I do. My entire family is either alcoholics or drug addicts, and there are many of them who've never been through. Right, I'm still thinking about it too. But there's many of them who haven't been through anything, but they still do it just because they were at parties and they started to like drinking, and it was a social thing, and then turned into an addiction, but so yeah, I feel like it absolutely can be inherited, but I think at some point or another, it's a habit that continues. It's not, easy to let it go, and not just because of the physical aspects of it. It's because of the habit of doing it. You start getting up in the morning and it's like, I'm used to getting up in the morning and having a nip, or I'm used to getting up in the morning and, taking a shot immediately. Gotta find other things to kind of like do with your time, than that. And that's a huge piece in recovery. It's like finding something else healthy to substitute, kind of replace one habit with the other,
Right. He mentioned that his son never went through any real trauma, but there's alcoholics on both sides of the family. That's trauma.
Right, which is a trauma. Yeah, it's traumatic.
That's
to
trauma.
Deal. Yeah.
Dealing with somebody who is an alcoholic, it's still trauma. So he may have been feeling traumatized by the neglect from the alcoholic.
Well, in my family, we're not really close like that. Like my immediate family,
right.
We are. But we didn't find out about the alcoholism really until we were addicts,
Right.
My brothers and stuff, they, it was like we all basically started around the same time.
Yeah.
Because
you all had
masking trauma.
You all had emotional trauma because
they were never around the rest of my family, who was addicted to alcohol or anything.
Right.
We never really had to deal with, stuff like that. I should say. But I think, it can be something as simple as something at work, it's like you didn't get a promotion, what's traumatic for one is not necessarily traumatic for the next, it's just what's traumatic to you, know?
Yes.
So
exactly.
It could be anything,
Yep. You are 100% right.
It is a horrible disease. It sucks for sure. Absolutely. Well, you guys, I got to get ready to go get the wee ones off the bus.
Right.
I appreciate you all so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you, Sandra and Kel.
Thank you.
If you guys need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. I appreciate you, Rockstar, more than you know. Yeah. I say it all the time, but I really full on mean that.
Love for Rockstar, love for Jules, love for Sandra, Kel, love for
Thank you.
Thank you, you guys, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
All right, sounds good.
Bye. See ya.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
Everybody.
See if I click the end button right.